My name is Sylvia Athey. Happy Monday, you guys. Is everybody fired up and ready to start an incredible new week? I know I am. I'm going to be your host for this week. I have to admit, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know why, but I felt the nerves coming on last night, and I was like, I haven't hosted yet, so this is my first time. So I want to start you guys off with a really awesome quote to get you really thinking. So here it goes. This is the beginning of a new day. You have been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. Whoa, that's deep. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever. In its place is something that you have left behind. Let it be something good. Whoa, that's an awesome quote, is it not? Like, really think about the precious gift of this day. So a couple reminders, you guys. If you were at Epic and you bought tickets for Keto Academy and more, you only have until tomorrow to get those registered. So please log into your back office and get them registered right away. Second, did everybody get their hotel booked for Keto Academy and more already? The main event site is already booked out. So there are several still that are close by. So please get into your Pulse app, get your hotel booked. This is the number one way for you to commit to going. You don't have to put money up front to book a hotel, which is really awesome for people who are trying to, save up and buddy up with people, buddy up with your team, and get this stuff reserved, get your tickets bought one by one if you have to. It's going to be an incredible event for sure. Okay, so if you were at Epic, who was at Epic? We had an amazing treat that was dished out to us in the Pulse app yesterday. So if you attended Epic, you will know that 90% of life is showing up, right? And because you showed up, you now have an all-star reset from, I believe it was February 18th. Check your pulse. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's till May 30th to reset for All-Star, and that's a $2,000 cash bonus. Like, is that not freaking amazing, you guys? So this is why it's important to show up to events, because you never know. Not only will you get incredible, awesome stuff, but you never know what they're going to give us, like, in the future, just for showing up. So super awesome on that. How many of you guys participated in the reboot? The little reboot, like, you can earn a private jet. I'm not seeing any hands. Thumbs up. Anybody? Show me some love in the comments. How many of you counted yourself out? How many of you do you recognize that, like, when there's something like that, you're just like, oh, well, Nick Martinez is already number one. I might as well not even try. Like, catch those thoughts that you have, because those are detrimental to your success. When you immediately count yourself out because you think, well, there's no point in even trying, you're accepting failure before you even attempt to try. And how often do we let that happen in our life, you guys? So don't give up before you actually try, right? You'll never know if you're going to succeed if you don't actually try. So we're going to do a little reverse here. I would love to hear you guys' gratitude for future things. Write it out in the comments. Like, I'm so happy and grateful now that, what do you want to happen this month? What do you want to happen this year? I love doing this. This is something that I practice daily. So I write things out that I'm thankful for. Going rank 7, rock stars that joined my business end of March. Rock stars, runners, and leaders. I'm so happy and grateful now that my all-star bonus I hit. Yeah, get it. Let's see. Now that I am rank 8 for going MVP, for going rank 4. I love it, you guys. Doesn't it feel good to declare and claim, like, that you are owning this? You are taking this on. Now that I'm rank 9 for going MVP, rank 7. Awesome. I love it. Very, very cool. If you guys practice this daily, you would be surprised at how much your life changes, you guys. It's incredible. So also, let's throw some recognition out there for your team. Who actually kicked some booty this weekend? Who are you grateful for on your team? I'm waiting. Let's get them going. Christy Lilly, Jess Nouse, I think I pronounced that right. Emily, wow, this goes fast. Joy Russell, Katie Rollins, Mick and Momo, I think. Lauren Smith, Lisa Doxy, Christy Jones, Emily Maurice. Yes, way to go, you guys. Julia for hosting her first Keto Life party. Way to go, Julia. That is freaking awesome. Patsy Young, Tiffany Henrik, Sarah Lovely, Corey Groff, Abby Smith, Tyson Flamen, Brian Wiedemeyer. I think I pronounced that correct. Awesome, you guys. Very, very cool. All right. Well, I am super, super excited to partner with the Nick Couch this morning, who is going to bring some freaking fire to you all. Do you guys love Nick? Anybody ever been around him? You know that he literally is like, his energy is just, it gets you to a next level when you're partnered with him, when you're sitting next to him, when you're around him. He's just constantly in a good mood. He shows up, he plays full out. So I'm super excited to hear what he has to dish out to us this morning. Nick, I'm about to unmute you. Let's see. I think.
Yeah, I'm here.
Nick, come on, brother.
So yeah, this is probably one of my favorite topics to deliver on. And there's a reason that Brian asked me last night, hey, can you run the 10X talk today? And the big goal today is to close out the Grant Cardone 10X rule book so we can get into our next book. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but there's a reason that Brian called me to do this. He's been calling me Massive Action Couch for 3+ years. It's kind of my nickname. I have some other nicknames, but those aren't appropriate for this Zoom. But no, I was sitting here scribbling notes and going back over, and I had Grant Cardone in my ears, and I almost missed the Zoom. Sylvia's texting me. She's like, where are you? Because I was over here 10Xing my morning. I literally have like a page of notes. I'm going back through other pages of notes. And I just want to think back and take you guys back to when I got started. I didn't know anything about ketones. I didn't know anything about ketosis, the ketogenic diet. I was a blue-collared electrician. I never had success in network marketing. I started from ground zero. And I remember I had a company truck. I was an electrician. I was running projects. And when I first got into personal development and audiobooks, the 10X Rule was one of my first books ever. Grant Cardone's a little wild and crazy, but I love his teaching. And I can remember I was listening 45 minutes every morning to the job site. I worked around a lot of negative Nancy, average thinking people. So when I listened to the 10X Rule, I can remember when I got stopped in the parking lot at my job site, I literally wanted to rip the door off my truck, like physically rip the door off my truck when I got out of my truck, because the Grant Cardone 10X Rule book just like set my mind on fire of like what was actually possible. Like I've been living this average thinking life because my dad lived an average thinking life and his dad lived an average thinking life. And it was just the path I was going down. I thought I was going to be an electrician until I turned 65, 70, 100, however long I had to work to try and retire with no health. And I was just playing too small. And that book kind of set the pace and set the tone for my entire business. And I literally wake up every day with 10X mindset on my mind. So I got a bunch of notes from the book, takeaways from the book that I want to go over. But before we do that, I have somebody special that I want to call on. Sylvia, I sent you a text. Oh, he's already unmuted. Awesome.
Yeah,
hang tight, Ken. So I did a Zoom the night before we started the 90-day 10X Rhino run. It was a Sunday night. I was in my living room, and I had my light ring set up, and I was like, I had this much energy, too, that night. And I was just on fire, and I was literally screaming at the computer, and some of the things I was saying were from the book. So I'm going back to my notes from that day, which was like 30-some days ago. I was talking about 10Xing your life is the holy grail for success. It just happens that we have some holy grail coming. But I was saying that it establishes your action and your thinking. It will increase your courage. It will dissolve your fear. And I had mentioned things like I had a whole list of things like for the next 90 days, no cheat meals. For the next 90 days, no naps. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to do more than you thought you could ever do. You're going to put things on the back burner. You're going to hold yourself accountable. You're going to have 90 days of gratitude. You're going to have 90 days of solid AQ, EQ, IQ. I'm talking really fast. Bear with me. 90 days of being intentional with your time. Like if watching the Super Bowl isn't productive to your business, don't watch the Super Bowl. Like if like going to the bar and drinking with your friends isn't going to be a positive thing to the next 90 days of 10X, don't do it. Don't go to the bar. Like eat healthy, work out, like sleep, get all your stuff in check. Stop social media scrolling, be outcome oriented. Give up what you want now for what you want most. And I was ripping and ranting. And it was about 4 days later that Ken Cools asked me for my cell phone number and called me. And he, like that Zoom that night literally changed the course of this 90-day 10X run and some things that have happened in his life, and some bullshit excuses he was making up here that he was being okay with. So Ken, real quickly, as much as you want, as little as you want, just kind of chime in on what that talk did to your business for the last 30 couple of days.
Well, actually, absolutely. It's skyrocketed everything since that day. You know, I thought I was doing everything I needed to in order to be successful. And for some reason, that chat that you gave me that night just made me really become aware of some of the things that were not making me the most efficient person I needed to be moving forward. You know, so I'm kind of in this transition in life. I'm starting my second. You know, I was very successful first half of life. Things kind of switched around on me as they do. And now I'm on a pathway to become better again. Now, in order for all that to happen, though, I need to be 100% me. I need to be on the grind all the time. So I come from a pro BMXing world, a world where some things are okay. And smoking pot has always been one of those things that have been okay. My body is also really messed up. My right shoulder's been reconstructed twice. My lower back, I have a 3-level fusion in. I have 2 6-inch rods in there. I mean, I keep myself very healthy, but I always say, I got a tiny bit of pain here and there. And the doc says it's cool to go smoke some weed. So I was making myself all these justifications. And for 25 years, I smoked pot daily. 25 years, I smoked pot daily. And then that night, you had made a few things, and I had already read the Grant Cardone book. Since that day, I've done it 3 times. So I'm ready for another book because I don't want to go on like time 4 in a row here on this one. But one of the biggest things that I take from him is this, don't be a little bitch, man, you know, and his little Texan drawl. And that really resonates with me. And I thought, okay, what am I not doing here in my day that is making me successful? Well, it wasn't what I wasn't doing. It was the fact that I was doing other stuff. And being a full-time dad at 2, I don't just sit around my living room and smoke pot, you know. It was helping me concentrate, so I told myself, and all the other things. I wasn't taking any of the meds that the doctors give me because I don't need them. So why isn't something that grows from the ground naturally good for me, right? You just kind of come up with all these things. So I went on a piece of paper and I wrote down all the A, how much money I waste on the stuff in a year. B, how much time do I waste in a day, and then add that up all in a week. And this is all after I got off on that chat with you that night. And then I looked at this piece of paper and I thought, holy, what am I doing? I went down my garage and got rid of all my stuff and haven't smoked since. And every day now, not only do I get myself an extra 2 hours of time, because honestly, you know, for me to go through the process and walk off my property and go down the river and, you know, all that kind of stuff, even though it's legal, I have kids and I keep it away from them, 2.5 hours a day. Well, it's 2.5 hours a day of building a community. That's 2.5 hours a day of coaching my promoters. That's 2.5 hours a day of extra. What do you know about ketones and ketosis? So not only did I get that back, but I became way more efficient in everything else because I was so efficient in doing that bit that it all rolled forward. You know, having said that, I completely wore myself out the last little bit. I took the weekend off on the couch because it's just, I've been going full tilt boogie, but it's because I've completely aligned myself with that 10X rule. Everything I do every day, every time I write down my gratuity in the morning, I meditate. I'd like to say 10 times harder, but you know, I think 10 times more chilled out. I do that as well. And I've attracted the people into my life that I need to build what I want to build. And it's really come a long way since that night.
That's awesome. That's why I wanted to call on you. So Ken's from Canada. Smoking marijuana in Canada is legal. So for those of you in America that are like, what the heck's this guy talking about smoking pot for? But no, he called me like 5 days later. He was like pouring his heart out. He's like, Nick, because of that Zoom Sunday night, for the first time in 25 years, like longer than some of you on this Zoom have been alive, he's been smoking marijuana every day. For 5 days, he was like, dude, I haven't touched it for the first time. And it was powerful. And like, I know many other stories like Kendra, Katie, and a bunch of other people wouldn't have went to that Dallas or that Charge event in Utah if it wasn't for the Zoom that Josh Nelson did. There's a reason we do these Zooms. Sometimes it won't be your coach, your mentor, or somebody on your team that inspires you, fires you up to go to the next level, to go to the event that changes your life, to pick up the book or put down the pot or put down the beer, or stop being abusive to your children, or whatever the hell's going on in your life. Like, we all have shit we're going through. But like, if he wouldn't have gone on that Zoom Sunday night for whatever BS excuse, he'd probably still be smoking pot, and his business probably wouldn't be growing the way it's growing. Has your business increased in the last 30 some days, Ken? I know it has. You message me all the time. But guys, this is what I'm talking about. Like, the 10X rule isn't like, I'm going to do the 10X rule, but then you 2X it. It's the 10X rule. Like, you've got to go hard, like crazy, like cut stuff out of your life that's not conducive to your goals. But let's get into some takeaways from the book before I get long-winded. I want to hit this on the 30-minute mark. But number one thing I've written down, every successful person ever in the world has used a version of the 10X rule. I wrote down some names like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Donald Trump, Tom Brady, LeBron James, Oprah, Madonna, J.K. Rowling, Beyonce. Do you think that they dabbled? Do you think Bill Gates dilly-dally? Do you think Steve Jobs, whenever he got kicked out of Apple, was messing around? Or like any of those things? Like, they 10X everything. They don't just mess around. They're not out wasting time on stuff that's not conducive to their goals. And it's the same thing. Like, look at the pace of technology. Look at the pace of our company. Do you think Brian Underwood's 1Xing life? Or do you think Brian Underwood's 10Xing? Do you think our company is 10Xing? I mean, like, I can barely keep up with the Pulse app these days. Like, things are moving. Like, if you take a week off of Pruvit, you're going to come back and you're going to be lost. Like, it's moving like a runaway freight train because we're all 10Xing. The community's 10Xing. We're not on pace to be $1 billion company in 3.5 years because we all just sat around and 1X the life and goals. Like, the whole company 10Xs it. And when you get around other people, you just naturally get infected by the 10X disease. Like, it just happens. Like, that's why our events are so powerful. Like, if you go sit with 1,200 people that have my energy, my fire, my passion, there's so many other people. It's not just me. Like, Abigail's front and center on my screen. Like, she's a hustler. She's a go-getting kick-ass, like, take no for an answer. Like, she's a beast. There's so many people on the screen. Like, I don't want to just single people out, but guys, you've got to do it. And set a goal. Set it 10X higher than you think you can achieve. Then you have to multiply your expectations by 10. And guess what else you have to multiply by 10? Your action. Your action needs multiplied by 10. So if you're sending out one message a day, you need to do 10. If you're having one keto life party a month, try and have 10. Like, you've got to get going. Success has nothing to do with genes, luck, or connections. It's all about thinking big. Write that down. Thinking big. I'll come back and explain that in a minute. If you're not 10Xing life, you're setting limits on your life, and the 10X rule will break those limits and the limiting mindset. Take responsibility and control for everything. If you take enough action, it'll fix everything else. It'll correct everything. The 10X rule can be applied to everything. Like, if you're a crappy parent, 10X the time you spend with your kids. It'll change your relationship. If you're whatever, like if your job's not going where you want it, you probably need to 10X your things at your job. Unless you're trying to quit your job, then you might not want to 10X those things. But there's 4 degrees of action. This is exactly how Grant explains it. Doing nothing. And it takes just as much energy to do nothing as it does to do a lot. Retreating. Retreating means you're taking action in reverse to avoid discomfort. It's excuse making. Like, oh, I don't want to go to that keto life party because whatever. Like, I'm afraid to host. You know what? Like, you just go do it. Like, getting out of your comfort zone is amazing. Number 3, average action. Average. That's what the whole world's doing. It's why I just had this talk. We did a collaboration last night with Melissa B. She's on here somewhere. But she used to be a school teacher and principal. If you drive through a school parking lot, if you have kids, you do it often, look at the teachers' cars. No offense to any school teacher. They're driving economy cars. And if you see a Range Rover or a Jaguar or a Lexus or a nice car in the parking lot, I always think, like, what's their spouse do for a living, or what do their parents do? Like, no offense to school teachers. It's like a mediocrity vortex. Like, public education and just doing what everybody else is doing is a mediocrity vortex. You'll get sucked into it. Like, there's a reason that we homeschool our children. I don't want my kids going to school with a bunch of mediocre kids. I want my kids hanging out with other promoters' kids, other business owner kids, other millionaires' kids, like other wealth-minded kids. I don't want my kids going to school and like hanging out with all the derelicts and rejects. Guess who I hung out with in high school? The derelicts and rejects. Guess why I didn't fall into the drug addiction and the heroin epidemic? And most of my friends from high school are dead or in jail or are still addicted to drugs and broke. I hung out with Brian James after high school when I got away from those clowns. I moved on. I was working so hard, I didn't have time to go party and do drugs. So there's a reason that I'm homeschooling my kids. And like, you just got to get away from average thinking. Average thinking is the most dangerous. Society fosters it and encourages it. And you'll have an average lifestyle. And I love how Natalie Kilborn always says, like, broke people have the biggest TVs. They have the fridge full of beer. It's like you're just making BS excuses. I call people out on their crap when they're like, oh, I ate some junk food today because I worked out really hard. I'm like, yeah, like, stop making that bullshit excuse. Like, if you want the goal, you got to go after it. You got to, like, eliminate it. And then average isn't good enough. Average to you is equivalent to failure. Your life depends on 10x. Average people will consider it insanity. I hear it all the time from my old closest friends. They're like, dude, like, do you ever stop? Like, man, you need a break. Like, take a vacation. Like, no, it's my life, my goals. I don't give two craps what anybody thinks. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm going after it. I'm going after it hard. Let go of the idea that average is acceptable. Set your goals so high that it stretches you. Get around other people that, like, push you further. Like, there's a reason that at events I like to hang out with other pro champs and rank 9s and rank 10s and legends and get into late night huddle ups with the people that are achieving the most success. But review your goals every day and night. Like, get a tablet, leave it on your nightstand, and literally review them or write them down, rewrite them constantly to ingrain it into your head. And then remind yourself why they're important to you. Like, Abigail, I know you've said this before, so I'm not calling you anything. Like, Abigail lived in a trailer park. Abigail just got inducted into the 7-figure club with Pruvit. There's been a big shift. Do you think Abigail 1x or 10x her life, 1x or 10x her goals, 1x or 10x her action? Heck, I'm sure there's days where Abigail probably 20x her daily routine. But Abigail has the life Abigail has now because of the work she's done, because of the action she took, because of the late nights, because of the early mornings, the sleep deprivation, the nights of partying and hanging out that don't exist. But when Abigail gets to fly first class, when Abigail gets to take a private jet, when Abigail goes and gets in her $100,000 Tesla, like, she's not getting in a 1986 Chevette. She's driving a freaking space shuttle Tesla. Like, there's a reason that Abigail's life is the way Abigail's life is. And Sylvia and myself, like, I haven't worked my job for over 2 years. Like, am I a millionaire? No, but do I live life on my terms? Am I freaking happy? Do I have a good relationship with my kids? Like, am I breaking goals every month? Is my business growing? Yes. It's because I don't sit around in this mediocrity vortex, wallowing in my own sorrow and drinking my sadness away. Like, I don't drink. I forget who I was with. We had a friend pass away last week, and we all had an after get together. And everybody was drinking and everybody was eating shitty food. I stuck to my diet. I didn't drink a single drop. And they're like, "You don't drink?" I'm like, "No, it's not going to let me hit my goals tomorrow." Could I drink? Yes. Could I have a vodka and club soda and mix in some ketones? Yes. But is that going to let me hit my goals tomorrow? Is that going to let me have 10x action tomorrow? No. If I would have drank with them, I would have woke up hungover, feeling like crap, and I would have 1x my life the next day. And then I would have fallen into that rut, and it would have just kept going, and it would have spiraled out of control. But guys, for those of you with this scarcity mindset, there's no shortness of success. And if you're like, oh, I can't do what Nick does because Nick's already signed everybody up. There's 7.7 billion people in the freaking world. Like, we're going global. Stop thinking small. Start thinking big. Like, start playing bigger. Get obsessed about success. It is the key to success. Massive, massive, massive action. Like, I have a feeling in the next couple minutes when we end this Zoom that everybody's going to get off and go a little crazy. And there's no time for breaks. There's no time for admiring the scenery or feeling sorry for yourself. And if you're not fired up, like I don't have time for 100 phone calls, but like there's some of you that literally, if you're having a down day, your energy's down, you'll just shoot me a text message and I'll send you like Sylvia said, like my energy is infectious and magnetic, and just get around other people that inspire you to take that action. I'm going to wrap there so Sylvia can close and we can hit our time. But guys, the biggest thing I can tell you is stop making excuses. And we're going to wrap. This is officially the end of the Grant Cardone 10X Rule as our success book. The next book we're going to be doing, which starts now. So if you want a 10X life, go download the book, go order it on Amazon. As soon as you get it, start reading it. The next book is The Magic of Thinking Big. Write that down. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. I've already as soon as Brian told me that's the next book, I downloaded it and I ordered it on Amazon because I want a 10X life. I'm not going to wait till we're ending the book to buy the book. I'm going to start reading it today. So that's all I got, Sylvia. I'm going to volley it back to you.
Awesome job, Nick. Yes. Oh my gosh. Are you guys freaking fired up? Like, I know I'm having some mind-blowing moments here. So just to kind of recap, you guys, are you really 10Xing your life? Are you really 10Xing your business? Are you really doing it? Because it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm going to go out and 10X, but are you actually doing it? Are you saying no to the things that aren't going to serve a purpose in your life and in your business? Set those goals. I think people are afraid to set goals. Set those goals. Get out your pen and paper today. Set the goals. Think big, you guys. Big, big, big. And review those goals daily. Review them nightly. Like, don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to think big. Nick, that was an incredible, incredible Zoom. Like, I am fired up. Get the book, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Get it downloaded. I'm going to hold you guys accountable. I want to see everybody tomorrow showing proof that you got the book. I'm going to make you all hold up your phones or your little order on Amazon that you got the book. So with that, you guys, go out, have an incredible, incredible day. 10X your business. Go send out 10 messages. If you've already been sending 10, I challenge you to go send 20. All right. Go to that scary person that you've been afraid to ask, are they interested? And go send that message today. And we will see you back here tomorrow morning. Have an incredible Monday, you guys.